Hello and welcome to Simply Cooked by Maggie and Paul. I'm Paul and today I'm going to make, completely from scratch, I think one of the UK's favourite dishes. It isn't English, by the way, it's Indian, and it's Chicken Tikka Masala. I wouldn't like to take a guess, but I would think that if you looked at how many tons of this stuff is served up in Indian restaurants on a Friday, Saturday and Sunday, you'd probably find it worked into the hundreds of tons because everybody loves it. It's not too hot, it's a little bit spicy, and you can make it as spicy as you want it, but it really is quite a mild dish. And this is what we're going to make. Now I'm going to make today for 4 people. I usually only make for 2 people, me and the lovely Maggie, but today I'm going to do it for 4 people because the lovely Maggie and I are going to have this for our evening meal, and the other 2 portions I'm going to freeze for later in the week. So today what we're going to do, we're going to cook this completely from scratch. It's a 2-part process. The first thing you got to do is you got to make a marinade for the chicken. You then leave the marinade soaking, hopefully overnight. It doesn't have to. If you're having it for your evening meal, if you make the chicken marinade in the morning and then put it into the fridge, it'll be fine. But you want to give it at least 6 hours. You want to let it marinate for 6 hours. But once we've got the chicken underway, what we're going to do then is we'll make the sauce. We'll make the masala sauce. That doesn't take long. It only takes about 20 minutes to make that. We want to time this though, so that about an hour before you're ready for eating, you start making the sauce. So without further ado, let's get on and let's make chicken tikka masala.
Right, we're ready to start cooking. The first thing you have to do when you're making chicken tikka masala is you've got to make the chicken tikka part of the meal, which is basically chicken that's marinated in a lovely thick Indian spicy sauce. So that's what I've got in front of me. I've got all the ingredients to do that in front of me. And it looks like there's a lot of ingredients, but there isn't. And everything is, as I always do, everything's available from your local supermarket. Okay, we're ready to start mixing the chicken tikka bit of the meal. So here's my chicken. And the first thing I'm going to do is, I've never used this. I have no idea how this thing works. But here's the red dye stuff. So I'm going to end up with red hands here. I don't know whether I should be wearing gloves. I don't know about this. Let's have a go. So you mix this in. Oh, look at this. Putting a bit of stuff on. This looks the best way to do it. So I don't know how much of this to put on, and I don't know if it's going to go pink instead of red, but that's the chicken made red. Right, well the good news is it didn't dye my hands red. So basically what we're going to do now is we're going to take the salt and we're going to rub it into all this lot. So there's not a great deal of salt in this, so it's not going to be a really unhealthy salty meal. But basically I'm getting red on me again, and I'm sort of rubbing this thing in. And when you think you've got it, then what we're going to do, typically I always get full of stuff, as you've watched me before. We're going to put 3 tablespoons full of lemon juice, and again we're going to rub all that in like that. Now what we've got to do with this now, we've got to leave this for 20 minutes just to let all that lemon juice soak in. So this lot's had its 20 minutes and it's ready to get mixed now, so I've just had time for a quick cup of tea, so let's get stuck into this. We just have to mix all this lot up now, so we're going to put a little bit of, I'm using olive oil, you can use sunflower oil if you wish, but I've got 3 tablespoons like that. We're then going to put in, you want to try and rub these in if you can. You want them to get nicely mixed. So what should we start with? Let's start with the root ginger. Nice root ginger. I'm going to end up with hands full of dye and everything again here. So there's the root ginger. Get it all nicely mixed in. Let's get the there you go. And put some paprika in. Important that you get all these really nicely mixed up, by the way. And again, I've said it before on my videos, I wish we had smelly vision because this smells absolutely fantastic. Mixed in. Garam masala. And finally, the chilli. And again, I only had a hot chilli in. So if you don't like it too hot, you might want to put some mild or medium in. And then we'll put the cream in there. This cream. Put it into this mixing bowl so that I could whisk it up a bit, but it's basically 6 tablespoons full. There we go. That all gets nicely whisked into that lot. Well, not whisked, it gets hand stirred into that lot. And that is your marinade sauce. Look at that. I think I've got everything in there. Handful of stuff again, as I always have. But what we're going to do with this now is we're going to stick it into the fridge. And ideally you want to try and do this at night if you could, and then leave it overnight, but I haven't got that luxury, so I'm going to leave it at least 6 hours and it'll be okay. So I'm just going to wash my hands, stick it in the fridge, and we shall come back when we're ready to actually make the actual masala sauce, and we'll be cooking this lot. So we shall see you then.
Well, welcome back. This is the second part of the chicken tikka masala, and I've let the chicken marinate. In fact, it's the day after now, so I've left it overnight and we're ready to start making the masala sauce. Okay, we're ready to start cooking the masala sauce. So I'm going to cook the thing in this pan here. It's going to be quite full, I think, but it'll be big enough. So we're going to start this by switching this on and a bit of heat on there. I'm going to put 4 tablespoons full of olive oil or sunflower oil into that. 2, 3, 4. And we're just going to get that warm, and once it's warmed up we're going to put in onions and we're going to brown them off. There we go, more of the onions. And it's going to take about 5 or so minutes just to get these nice and brown, so we'll come back in about 5 minutes. Right, the onions are nice and browned off there. They've had about 5 minutes. What we're going to do now is we're going to pop in some ground root ginger. And immediately you can smell the ginger as soon as you put it in. I've turned it down to about, I'm an electric induction hobbyist. I've got it about number 6 out of 9. I'm going to put in the garlic. And it just needs about a minute. You don't need to give it long. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to add the spices. And these are my 4 spices, so I need to get my... I'm going to go straight from the jar straight in. I need my devices. What I'm looking for. So, let's get these spices in. So we're going to put in coriander, ground coriander, 1 tablespoonful. 1 tablespoonful. Coriander, which is quite a bit of coriander to be honest. It's a brand new one, the top's not been taken off it, look. I'll put in 1 tablespoon. Put that over there. Now the next one is turmeric. Turmeric, I think I only put yet half a teaspoon, so that's quite a small amount of turmeric. There we go. That in there. Chili powder, this is the burner. Chili powder, you only put in 3/4 of a teaspoon. Well, I'm only going to put in a half because it's a hot one. There you go. I'll just give that a stir. And we've got 1 more spice to go. Remember right, which is paprika. And paprika is 2 teaspoons full. Now that's my teaspoon, so I'll have 2 of those. One and 4. And then we need to keep this all stirred to get it all stirred in. Now we're ready to start putting the yogurt in. So we're going to go, what you've got to do with this, you have to put it in bit by bit so it doesn't burn. I'm putting in a teaspoonful. I'm not going to use those actually, I'm going to use a proper teaspoon. You just grab a teaspoon out of here, because that's got a bit contaminated. I'm going to use a teaspoon and I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon. And then blotch it in there like that. Okay. Oh, that's a bit. There's another 2. I'm going to have a little bit high then. Maybe down a touch. Another 1. You can also put a bit of cream in here if you wish, by the way. Don't want to burn it. I think we've got 4 of these. Yeah. Going. 1 more. Vertical. See how it's all into like a glue. Right, we're ready for the, what we're going to do now is we're going to put the stock and the tomatoes in. Right, so I've got my tin opened, and I'm not going to put a full tin in, I'm going to put about 3/4 of it in. See how it goes. So if it goes a bit dry, I can always put a bit more in. I'll put about 3/4 of the small tin. It's only a half tin really. And then I'm going to do the same with the stock. You've got 30 millilitres, I think, but I'm only going to put in about half of it. I'm just going to get this thing, I'm just going to turn it up so it simmers. Simmer. This is going to be fantastic. It's already smelling like a masala. We've got to leave this now 15 to 20 minutes. Now look at that. Oh my goodness. You don't want to be stirring it all the time. I just want to get it all mixed up. I think it'll take the rest of that, to be honest. So I'm going to put the rest of it in. There you go. I don't want this going too dry. I like it quite watery. So stick that in like that. And that's our masala sauce, which only adds to a half an hour. What we've got to do at the end, when it's simmered for 15 minutes or so, we're going to put in this garam masala, and I think it's only a small amount we put in, and we're going to add chopped coriander leaves, and then it's just waiting for the chicken to be added. So let's get on now. What we're going to do now, we'll get the rice on and we'll get the chicken in, and everything should be about 20 minutes. Not going to take long. Okay, well, while you were away, I've put the rice on, bubbling away nicely. I'm just turning it down so it simmers. That'll be ready in about 10 minutes. And I put the marinated chicken onto the skewers. And what we're going to do now, I've got the oven warmed up, so everything's ready to go. This sauce smells absolutely fantastic. It's hardened up, it's nice and thick, exactly how you want it, and it smells fantastic. I've got it on about 260, and you might want to put it a little bit higher. You don't want to burn them, but you must make sure they're cooked. So I'll put them then. I took out the actual tray that you grill with, and I put the shelf as high up as it will go, and there's about that much gap between this is an electric oven, so there's about that much gap. So we shall keep an eye on that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put my garam masala in, which is the last thing. I'm also going to just have a little taste of it, just to make sure it's not got too much salt or too little salt. It's a personal thing, that. Now this stuff you only need, this is a half a teaspoon, and it only needs, I remember right, a little 3/4 of one of those. Sprinkle that in. A bit flicking. And then we've got the chopped up corianders. Now save some of this back, we just outside the shop, but they're going to use it for the garnish. Like that. And this is now ready to put the chicken in. I'm going to get the chicken out now. So I'm going to keep rolling. I'm just going to get the chicken out, and we'll bang it straight into here. So you see what I've done? I kept turning it and turning it about 4 times, and you see I've char grilled it. It's going to be fantastic. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add that meat into the sauce. Now I've kept an eye on the temperature because I've got one of these little reading things here. You want it about, if I remember, it was 76 degrees C in the middle. But the best way is just cut a piece open and see if it's cooked. Cut one of the bigger pieces open. But having said that, what we're going to do is we are going to let it cook this for a little bit longer in its own juices here. There you go. see this nice big piece on the end? Take this and put it back into the dish here. I'm just going to get my knife and just chop it in two, just to make sure it's cooked. And that's, can you see it's nice and white all the way through? So everything's nice and cooked. Nice bits, and I think we can put them in. I think with Indian food you don't waste anything. Put the bits in there. Right on the way. I am going to give it just 5-10 minutes, just on a low simmer. And if it starts going a little bit thick, just add a little bit more water to it. So you're going to put a lid on this. Here's my lid. And we'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, well this is had 10 minutes or so on a very low simmer. Look at this. Oh my goodness, this looks and tastes, well it smells, I haven't tasted it yet, but look at that. That is Chicken Tikka Masala. What I'm just going to do here though, I'm just going to get a little mouthful of this here. Touch. I'm just checking whether there's enough salt on it. I don't like a lot of salt, to be honest, so I think it does want a bit, but I'm only putting a little bit like that. So just touch your salt on. That's now ready to serve. So I've kept the rice warm, and I've got my dishes. I think we should get this vented. Let me just show you this properly. That's what we've made today. Now, as I say, we're having half and half rice and naan bread, but you can put anything you want with this if you wish. You can have all rice, you can have all naan bread. As I say, I've even seen people where they put it onto a jacket potato.
And here we are. Here is the meal ready to put on the table. I have served it in matching square dishes with the masala in the larger dishes and the batami rice in the smaller dishes. I've also popped some ready baked naan breads into the oven, and we're going to have half and half. So let's get it onto the table.
And there's the finished meal all ready to serve. Now, I had a bit of cream left over from yesterday. And what you want to do with it, just sprinkle it across the top like that. It just makes it look better. And also, and I'm sorry if I keep jumping in and out of shot, so you want to get some of your coriander that you saved, just sprinkle it on. You don't need a lot of it, just sprinkle a little bit of coriander on there like that. And that's it. We'll give the lovely Maggie a shout in a moment. But there we go. There is Chicken Tikka Masala from scratch, and it tastes absolutely wonderful, I'll guarantee it. So we'll see you in the next one. Thank you and bye bye.